Zabrowski, co-founder and CEO of Apollo Performance Wear. Summer is here, y'all. Most of us are in the Done Club. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
I'm in the Done Club as of Sunday.
Congrats.
And summer is officially here. Of course, I got no time off because we started company auditions immediately after
We know
recital.
this. Dance doesn't get time off. There is no time off. And
there is no off season.
Amazing.
So, and as we know, summer brings just a unique training schedule with jam-packed nationals, conventions, intensives, boot camps, auditions, you name it. And there's lots of physical and mental energy that's output in very, very short amounts of time. So nutrition plays a big part in that. We've done a lot of shows on nutrition. How does it work? How does nutrition tie in with how we actually are physically able to perform? So we really want to get some insight from Caroline today about how we handle this and what we do to make sure that our students and ourselves, for that matter, are able to even handle this type of schedule for the summer. Before we introduce Caroline, I do want to give you a few reminders. You might see Bria and I looking around. That's because we are going to be going back and forth to Instagram, trying to pull people over to this conversation. So don't think we're not paying attention. We're totally engaged, but we just want to get as many people as possible into the conversation. So without further ado, let's get started.
Yes. Awesome. So Caroline is from South Carolina. She's been dancing for over 35 years. She's a mom of two crazy, awesome little boys, Cruz and Ashby. She's married to Hans, certified holistic health coach through IIN. She trained at Southern Strut under her mentor, Nancy Giles. She choreographs for studios all across the country, teaches with Adrenaline Dance Convention and National Dance Honors and Verve the Intensive. She's also the founder of Unbound Dance Company. Her goal with Unbound is to really inspire and give dancers of all ages the opportunity to perform and express themselves through dance and movement. She also has a very deep passion for inspiring healthy living and disease prevention, inspired by her mom's journey with cancer 15 years ago. And she has joined a community called Health Made Simple and partnered with a company called Juice Plus, which I am a huge believer and advocate in my own life as an somebody who struggles with autoimmune disorders. It's amazing. But her mission is to encourage and inspire healthy living around the world, especially for our beloved dance community. And her motto is, if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? Which is so, so true. And we need to keep that in mind. Caroline, welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love my time with y'all.
Yeah, it's going to be another great convo. As an athlete yourself and a busy mom of two kids, we all know how crazy that is. How do you prioritize healthy eating, and how much of a role does food play in the amount of energy and time you have to tackle all of this?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say my top 3 focuses each day are obviously the food that I put into my body, meaning real food. I am plant-based. I call myself a loose vegan. So loose vegan, all the foods that I put into my body, I love to come from my refrigerator, from the produce section to all the colors of the rainbow. So food is very important to me. That's that priority. Laughter and having fun. And then the third one is moving my body of some sort every single day. And then I'm a huge advocate of food prep, not necessarily meal prep, but just food prep. So what that looks like is, one day of the week, maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, depending on when I fly home for that week. I am making a lot of sweet potatoes in my oven, or I'm roasting a bunch of vegetables. I make a really fun eggless pie, veggie pie that I make. And it's so simple. I can make it in 20 minutes. And it's just something that I can pull out of my fridge and say, okay, in fact, I had it today for lunch. I have a cold slice of that with a big, huge salad. So the basics, I always have beans in my fridge, tons of vegetables, tons of fruits, tons of trail mix, seeds, nuts, things that are easily accessible to me. And I love to create bowls. So I'll take a big bowl and I'll look in my fridge and say, okay, I've got leftover quinoa in there. I've got leftover beans. I've got leftover roasted veggies from the night before. And I will throw that all into my bowl. And then I'll be like, ooh, I've got some hummus. I'll throw some hummus. And then I have something called a tower garden. I'll show you guys if you want to in a second. But I'll literally cut my lettuce from my tower garden. I'll put that in my bowl and throw dressing on top of it. So I create, Is it okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So bowls are like my lifesaver, because I feel like in a bowl, you can put all these different amazing foods that maybe you don't think go together, but that taste really, really yummy together. And it really, this lifestyle and these habits that I've created, really it started when I was in my early 20s in New York, when I lived there. Definitely, hands down, I feel like is the reason why at the age of, I just turned 40 a couple months ago. I think that, I know is the reason why I'm able to keep up, maintain, and feel honestly the best I've ever felt in my life at my age. And age is it's just a number, but I do see a lot of my friends that as we get older, because we don't take as good care of ourselves, or maybe we think that when we get older, we don't have to, or we don't have the time. But to me, it's the number one priority, because I want to be viable for my family, hence the boys, for my, my students, anybody that I'm teaching, throughout the week. So that's the most important thing for me, for sure.
I love it. Thank you. So let's get to the first segment, because I know Caroline has to, she has another meeting after this. So we want to make sure we get all these questions in, but let's go to the first segment, Melissa.
Such a busy woman, Caroline.
We all are.
She does it, honestly.
We all are.
I know that if you can do this food prep, I can do this with everything you have going on. So summer, as you know, summer months are super busy, but it's a different kind of busy. It's got this ebb and flow. It's hurry up and wait. It's so inconsistent. Some weeks, there's lots of classes and lots of action, and you're going here, and there's nationals, and next week you're kind of vegged out in front of the boob tube. And it's a period of just mindless snacking sometimes. So how do the nutritional needs of dancers change during the summer months as compared to when we have a more consistent regular season?
Yeah, I think that you're spot on. I think it's inconsistent, right? I'm leaving for nationals next on Monday. I'm going to be gone for 9 days. I come back, I've got 6 days home, and then I'll leave again for 9 days. Mm-hmm. So it is inconsistent. And then I think as teenagers or younger dancers, we have sleepovers, and, we're doing all these other fun things that are fantastic. And honestly, I encourage y'all to do more of. I encourage you more to do more kid-friendly things. I mean, dance is kid-friendly, but I mean, being a kid, being a young person, right, and getting outside. So I think that if we can all truthfully, just develop a few very, very small, healthy habits. Mm-hmm. And if we stay consistent with them during our off time, right, or during that week, or maybe we do get to rest, which, by the way, is the most important thing in your training. It's not more class. It's getting rest, getting off your phone at night, getting good sleep. To me, when I started focusing on sleep for me as an athlete, that's when everything really started to evolve for me. And being okay to say, hey, I'm going to take today off. I don't have to go on a run, and there's a whole backstory with my mindset with all of that. But I think if we maintain and create these very simple, healthy habits, maybe one is your food prep during the week, right? It's okay. I'm going to dedicate on Mondays. I'm going to get in that kitchen with maybe my mom or my older sister or older brother, whoever. And let's find some staple foods that we can have throughout the week, or at least snacks, maybe healthy snacks, just to focus on that for the first month to see, how that can help you as well. And I really think that that's going to be huge. And then, during these intensives, I made notes, by the way. I'm making sure I'm checking all my T's. Yeah. Crossing all my T's, dotting my I's. But I do think we get super, super exhausted. And if we can focus on, and I'm sure y'all have had segments on this, but deep breathing, more sleep, getting rid of the phone. And when you are at these intensives, for our parents and our older dancers, preparing beforehand before you go is going to be the most important thing. And I made a kind of a checklist. I know that's a question later, but preparing before you go, like I leave Monday, I already know all the restaurants. I know what is in store for me before I get there. So that way I know that I'm not stressing, because when I stress and I don't get the food to fuel me properly as a teacher, I am cranky and I'm not nice. Yeah.
And you can do it. And that's I've actually personally witnessed you do it, and it is very possible to eat this way and be consistent with your eating habits. It takes a little more, like you said, planning and effort, but you can do it. Absolutely. I've seen you bring your coolers and your, your jugs and your smoothies and your little travel blender and all of that. And it is absolutely possible.
And it saves time. Like when you're there and you're in the moment, maybe there's a rehearsal that's called last minute, or maybe you can't find your parent because you're in classes and they're not answering their cell phone. Like you are prepared and you feel, and that way you can focus on what you're there to do. And that's to dance.
Not to mention, not to mention financially, it saves you all kinds of money, because when you eat out at some of these venues, it's an arm and a leg to eat at a hotel. And sometimes that's the only option you have for food if you don't plan ahead. Which I'm guilty of that. Absolutely.
The $15 salad is just not where you want to be, especially when you don't have to. So
and I was going to say something else is anyone that's listening, like feel free to, we're going to talk about this then, but feel free to message me. And within our Health Made Simple community, every Sunday we have a free cooking class. It's from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the recipes are plant-based, but if you wanted to add some organic chicken or an egg or whatever, salmon to it, you totally could. But I think that would be something really fun for you to experiment with this summer, right? If you have a week off, be like, all right, I'm going to start experimenting with this and see how I can do this.
Yeah. 100%.
And then mason jars, like, this. You could put a lot of food in these and they travel really well. I'll fill it with beans and, like black beans, black beans, brown rice. Why is my phone ringing? Sorry. Salad, roasted vegetables. Quit calling me. And then I'll pack literally like 4 or 5 of these. And that literally gets me, that's my lunch for 5 days. It's fantastic. So these travel really, really well. And you can take them on an airplane. You can put them, you can put ice in a cooler on a plane, which is really cool. Just have to encapsulate it. So there's many, many ways that you can feel successful and do it in a very simplistic manner.
Okay, I have a question about that and totally off tangent. Here I go again. But the ice, so you can take an ice pack on a plane? I know that gets into the liquid.
No, as long as it's frozen. Now, if you're coming back, you need to put it in your checked luggage. If you put it on your carry-on and it's not frozen, then they'll throw it away. Okay. So yeah.
Okay.
But you can take ice in a bag, like a physical, take ice from your freezer, put it in a bag and put it in your cooler and then just throw it away when you get there.
Okay.
That's great. That's a great tip.
That's good to know.
Fantastic.
Especially judging. I have noticed that when I am judging, oh my goodness, because we don't eat anything but junk sitting at that table.
I know.
All day long. And
that's a whole other issue. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, let's do a whole other show on eating while judging. That can be a big one. But one of the things that I really need help with for the summer is I noticed that my kids, their stamina goes down in the summer. And I know you probably notice a lot of other challenges or things that happen with your students during the summer.
Yep.
How can nutrition, not just stamina, but any other of the challenges that you see, how can nutrition help to remedy those or fix those, any challenges?
Yeah, well, we know that, you'll hear some people say that a calorie is a calorie, and I completely disagree. Because I do 100% believe that, if you're eating an apple versus an Oreo, 2 Oreos, which is 100 calories, like that's going to totally fuel you very, very differently. So, my whole motto is eat in moderation, eat in balance, but just make sure that you're getting all the colors of the rainbow, the purples, the reds, the greens, the oranges, the browns. I find that when you start incorporating all of these colors and you start getting more fiber into your diet, right? And having that nice balance, you're going to see, you're going to train better, right? You're going to perform better. You're fueling. I think of food as not as like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and be gluttonous. I think of it as, oh, it's like, this is actually how my temple works. This is how I fuel myself to perform at optimal levels. And yeah, I love fun foods. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, let's have ice cream. That's a splurge, right? But if we're doing that every day, then yeah, that can cause major exhaustion. Also really make sure during these months also that it's very hot. It's already 100 here in Columbia, South Carolina, and I think that what we don't do is we don't drink enough water, right? And it's very humid where I live too, versus like we're in Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona next week, where it's the desert and it's a very different environment. So I know next week I've got to really make sure that my water is in check because we're going to be in such hot climate.
Okay. So water, let me pause because I've been on a kick about more water. Like this is my one of the things I'm working on. And I just read that you are supposed to drink 2/3 of your body weight in water. Yeah. So I got this jug that I'm supposed to drink. Like, it's huge. It's ridiculous. I look ridiculous carrying it around, but it's, you drink 1.5 of those. And I swear, I feel like I'm going to pee myself every 5 minutes.
Every time.
So, but I have never felt better. My skin looks better. People are like, "Are you losing weight?" And I'm like, "No, but maybe." But I just think it takes that bloat and that swelling out of just everywhere. It's amazing what it does when you actually drink the amount of water that you're supposed to. Now, it is really hard for me to do that, and I will say some days I'm better than others. But I mean, when I do what I'm supposed to do, I notice a difference for sure.
No, I do too. And there's days that I'm not good at it, just, being busy with the kids and stuff. And I'm going. I mean, my goal is to try to have like 6 of these a day. But I try
I'm
to
supposed to have 97 ounces of water, 97 ounces of water. I'm like, what? Does that include coffee?
Well, you have to also, you got to remember too, the great thing is that the more plant-based you become, right?
Right.
Plants are water. So the more plant-based you become, I find that I might have to have quite as much, but as much as all of us are training and the dancers and the athletes that are listening, you need at least 100 ounces a day for sure. And because of these hot summer months, but this is 32 ounces.
Yeah. That's
so that's one of the large mason jars.
Yeah, this is one of the large ones. It's hard to tell, but it's 32 ounces. So
do you ever put fruit in make spa water?
Yes, that's the only way I can do it. I can't. Lemon, mint, orange, all goes in there. I can down it that way.
Another great hydrator is I get an organic coconut water. It's called Harvest, and then I'll just put sometimes I'll do just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll pour some of it into here and mix the coconut water with my water. It's very, very, think of it as like a natural Gatorade. Coconut water is fantastic for that.
Right.
Jessie McKenna is on Facebook, and she said, Hydrate Spark water bottle has saved me. So cool. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but thank you, Jessie.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
If you're just joining, I'm Brie with Apala here with my co-host Melissa McDaniel. We're chatting with Caroline Lewis-Jones today about what are the best foods to promote healing and recovery throughout the summer months when things are really inconsistent and up and down with our dance training schedule. We're peppering in vacations and off time in there as well. So Caroline, what types of foods are good for athletes to keep their energy levels high and ward off exhaustion? So we're talking about, you gave us some snack ideas, but when they're in the thick of it, they're in the thick of training, they're traveling, what are those foods that are going to help them keep high energy levels?
Well, most important to first define macronutrition. So your 4 macros are going to be complex carbohydrates, healthy protein, healthy fat, water. But most importantly, I think one aspect that a lot of athletes are nervous about, but especially dancers, you hear the word carbohydrate and you're like, oh, it's a carb, right?
Right.
But carbohydrates are what keep you going all day long. That's how your brain functions. Like literally the only way your brain functions is with complex carbs. So complex carbs can be an apple. It can be brown rice. It can be black beans. It can be quinoa. It can be spaghetti squash, a banana. And then my healthy fats that I focus on every day. One of my favorite snacks, truthfully, like if I'm in between classes, is I will take I take avocados with me on the road. I'll cut it in half, open it up. I have a spoon. And then I take with me, from Trader Joe's, the everything but the bagel seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'll dump that onto my avocado, and literally I'll walk downstairs and just eat my avocado. So I'm getting that good healthy fat, but it's also avocados are one of the highest foods in fiber. So it's fantastic for the fiber aspect of it. Smoothies for me are one of the biggest bang for my buck, in terms of what I can put into it. So my go-to smoothie is in my blender, or my travel blender that I will take next week, is I've got my Juice Plus Complete, which is my plant-based smoothie mix. I'll do a scoop of that. I'll do either water, or you can use coconut water also, or I'll do, I'll get one of the almond or oat milks, and I'll dump some, about a cup of that in there. And then I'll get a bag of some sort of greens. Greens are so important, whether it's spinach, Swiss chard, you could use kale, and then some sort of berry in a banana. So maybe I'll put frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, and I'll put an entire banana just because I need the calories. And then a big slab of I don't know, a tablespoon of some sort of nut butter, whether that's peanut butter, cashew, something like that. But that's a fantastic snack. You're getting the protein, you're getting the healthy complex carbs, you're getting also the wonderful healthy fat. So to me, that's a perfect meal. I do believe in chewing, so we don't want to just have smoothies all day long. That's not what I'm going for. But when you're in a pinch, yes,
you need that energy. I mean, you're going to feel a lot better eating or drinking something like that than you are after you eat like a pizza or a cheeseburger and fries, that you so often see kids eating on their breaks at some of these things, right?
Another good example would be like, let's say there's a Chipotle right near you, right? Go into Chipotle and get a small bowl and get brown rice, get the black beans, get the pico de gallo, get the guacamole. If you want some chicken, great. Just before you perform, you don't want a high protein load, animal protein load, because that blood supply is going to go straight to your gut, and it's going to be harder to digest. So you want foods that are going to be used quickly and used for and help you sustain you for that length amount of time. So I love like a place like Chipotle, somewhere quick. Is it the cleanest ingredients? Is it organic? No, but in that pinch, that's a great way to go. I like to make healthy like veggie wraps before I leave also. I think that's a fantastic idea. So I'll take my Ezekiel bread and I'll do like a layer of hummus. I'll do cucumbers, carrots, bell peppers, and maybe like my favorite go-to is called a Hillary veggie burger. Like literally on my adrenaline weekends, I will do a bunch of those. Like I'll have 3 of them, and then I have a big veggie sandwich that I can munch on. So again, it's a little bit of preparation, but and then you can go into any restaurant, you guys, and say to them, hey, you can even just lie and be like, I'm vegan, I'm plant-based. What's the most color you have on your menu? And they're like, oh yeah, we could make this sandwich and do this. Or I'll go in and say, do you have sweet potatoes? And they'll be like, no, but I have a regular potato. And I'll say, okay, great. Can I have that regular potato? And can you put tons of steamed vegetables on top and maybe some grilled chicken and dump salsa on top?
There's ways around it. And these are the foods that are going to give you energy. So when we're talking about now shifting our focus to healing and recovery, what are those foods? Is there a difference? Should we be eating different foods to promote healing and recovery? And what are those?
There's different mindsets for this. You're going to hear a lot of people that say after you train, your highest consumption should come from protein. I politely disagree. Protein is very essential for, rebuilding muscle and things like that. But actually for recovery, you want to restore your glycogen, and glycogen is complex carbohydrates. That's going to help that. If you think of a marathon runner, what does a marathon runner do before and after, right? They're increasing that carbohydrate load so they can get through that. And then after, the recovery part is going to be that high complex carb reload. And I do consume protein. Mine is plant-based, and there's a different method behind it and definitely percentages, and you have to pay attention a little bit more. So don't just start being vegan or anything like that. Like contact me and I can give you some ideas for that, because I think a lot of people do it the very, very wrong way. But for recovery and prevention of disease, it's plants. There's a word called oxidative stress. When you exercise, you create oxidative stress, and they're called free radicals. And those free radicals kind of take over your body and they do damage that you don't feel on the inside. The only way to get rid of oxidative stress is to eat antioxidants. Antioxidants come predominantly from plant-based foods. Again, fruits, nuts, vegetables, seeds, whole grains, vegetables, fruits. So that's going to help prepare you and prevent, the damage that you just did from exercising.
And I want to point out, plant-based does not mean that you just completely cut out meat from your diet or whatever that you enjoy. Caroline actually taught me that. And while we're not going to get into that too much today, I want to tell you, we're going to be replaying the episode that we had with her back in December on July, 2nd? Friday, July 2nd, we're doing an episode replay for the 4th of July holiday. And she talks about what does plant-based eating look like, and gives a lot of great demos. So if you're somebody who hears that term a lot and is kind of like, no way, I couldn't do that. I was that person. And I totally can tell you it is really changed my life. I don't do it 100%, but I will say my mind shifts every day to how can I be more plant-based, and it makes a difference for me. And Caroline taught me that. So definitely check out that episode on July 2nd when we do that replay.
Yeah, it's just think 80-20. If this is like kind of scary to you, just think, okay, 80% of my day, I'm going to fuel with all the different beautiful colors of the rainbow. God, whatever you believe in, if it came from a plant, if it came from the ground, that's a plant. And then the other 20%, can be that. My whole thing with animal protein is just make sure it's organic, it's grass fed, it comes from a good place. And and there's the whole environmental issue, that I'm passionate about as well. So,
thank you.
Jesse on Facebook had a funny comment. She made me giggle, talking about the Hydrate Spark water bottle. I found it a handful of years ago trying to find a way to get my grandmother to drink water. The app, it's an app, keeps track of how much you need and are getting, but then there's visual light cues on the bottle.
Oh, that's cool.
For notification.
It yells at you.
Yes, it yells at you, and the flashing light made her grandmother remember to drink. It's pricey, but she says, worth my undisciplined water drinking self, which is true.
Oh, that's fun.
I too am an undisciplined water drinker, and I would love a light cue here or there to help.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna have to test it out. Put it to the test.
Test it out. Next time, I'll show you my Hydrate Spark water bottle.
I love
see how that goes. So, eating patterns. So, when we're traveling, when we're at intensives, it is so, for me as a teacher and for my students, it's so easy to say, I'm going to load up on this big, humongous breakfast because I'm not going to have time to eat any more throughout the day. Some people are, I'm going to eat a bunch of little itty bitty small meals all day long. I'm going to eat snacks. I'm going to graze. I'm going to graze all day long. Like, what are the eating patterns that you think are effective for either when you're traveling or when you're in intensives? And if it's not the same, either or.
Well, definitely for traveling, like on Monday, for example, I'm going to have Hans and the boys with me. I'm absolutely going to pack our lunches for the plane because I don't know what to expect in the airport. I just don't know. So I'm going to have 4 lunch boxes literally on the plane in their book bags with us, just because that's easy and that's convenient. And that way I'm not at the mercy of trying to, find that. I definitely believe, and I'm learning this as I get older and as I work with more people, I definitely don't think everyone is the same. I definitely think that we all have different mannerisms, different habits. And I think it's important that you recognize what those habits are and what works for you. What works for me may not work for either one of you. So with that said, I know for me, with nationals coming up, the best way that I function, and on like the convention weekends, I would say that I am more of a large, like small mini meals throughout the day. That is what's good for me, because sometimes I'll teach for 3 hours straight. I'll have 2 hours off. I teach for 2 more hours, I have a break, and then I judge for 8 hours. I mean, it's like, so for me, that is definitely more helpful. So like in the morning, I have my overnight oats, a pint-sized jar of this. I fill it with my oats, my Juice Plus Complete Smoothie Mix, my hemp hearts, my flaxseed. Before nationals, I'm going to make literally about 9 of them. So Hans can have one also if he wants it. And then I'm not going to eat all of it at first in the morning because that's a lot of oats. It's almost like 2 cups of oats. But what I am going to do is probably eat half of it. And then maybe 3 hours later, I'm going to finish it off. And then next comes, that could be, whatever my smaller lunch is going to be. So I think that I think that most athletes probably smaller meals throughout the day to sustain us for what we're doing with the convention and then all the long hours of comp. I think that's a better option. I think for a different athlete, it might be a little bit different. Like a soccer player might be a little bit different because they're going for like maybe, 3 hours at one time, don't stop, and then they're done.
High output. There's high output.
Right. So I think that it's finding what's best for you. But for me, and what I think I would love for y'all to experiment with is that, and just knowing that you have small mini meals throughout the day that you can grab, easily accessible, and that are filled with color, good fiber. And some examples of that could be, a plant-based yogurt with trail mix. It could be a smoothie that you made in the morning and you've just got it in your cooler and it's ready to drink. It could be tons of fresh fruit. It could be hummus and carrot sticks. It could be some hard boiled eggs. It could be, a small piece of chicken with, wrapped up in a whole wheat tortilla with hummus. So again, it takes effort and it takes planning. If not, you're going to be at the mercy of the pizza stand. The quickest thing are French fries and chicken fingers. And I hate to say it, but you're going to feel like crap, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And one other thing is find, if you are able to travel, you have a car, you're renting a car, whatever, go to a grocery store. And we've done that multiple times with our family. My husband traveled for a long time, and he, you know, at the end he would go do that. We worked on that, but the grocery store is a big resource that you can go and get all these things, so you don't have to pack it and bring it with you.
And that's a good point. So I found out that just a mile from us is Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. And I was like, yes. So as soon as we get there, we rented a car, and I'm taking literally, after we get our stuff in the hotel, we are all going to Trader Joe's. And I'm even bringing, you know, when you go camping and you have like the griddle, you know, like you make eggs and stuff on. Oh, I have it packed. I'm packing our griddle.
Oh my gosh.
But so that way, you know what I mean? If we wanted to make some, like, we have like a plant-based grilled cheese that we love, like we could just make sandwiches or make eggs in the morning or make our pancakes. Like, so again, you're not spending $100 on breakfast. So I'm packing the griddle, people.
Nice.
I'm telling
you, you're going to have to do demos when you do that. Like you do your little Insta lives, you're going to have to do that and show everybody.
Show us how you pack the griddle up.
100%.
Yeah.
So Caroline, we're behind in talking about nutrition as a dance industry. We really are. I think other industries, sport, especially with youth athletes, have been talking about that a lot longer. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about nutrition and the dance industry, and how would you like to see us make a mindset shift away from those misconceptions?
Yeah, I definitely, it starts with our mentors, right? It starts with, I definitely feel like how we're raised. You know, back in the 80s and 90s when I was at Strut, it wasn't anybody's fault. No one talked about it, you know, but I hate to say this, but at the dance studio, like our options were candy. Like literally that was what they sold, and Coke and soda. And luckily I had parents that understood, just because my mom was, you know, sick when I was so young, that we understood the importance of nutrition. So like I always had a snack bag with me, which I feel very blessed that they did that. But I think it has to start inside the studio. I think that's first and foremost very, very important, that there's a fruit bowl, you know, that they make concession stands now with trail mix and with clementine. I saw one in Miami with clementines, literally, that felt, just so cool. So I think that definitely has to start. You know, we have the whole body image aspect of a dancer, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I think it's very important to understand that we have to, the only way that we're going to be successful as as an artistic athlete is to fuel ourselves. There's no option not to eat. Eating is so vital. It's what defines you. It's what defines your, I mean, how you wake up in the morning. If you don't eat for 8 hours when you first wake up and you go to rehearsal, this happened to some of my dancers the other day. I could tell they were sluggish. I'm like, did y'all eat? And they're like, no, we didn't have time. And I'm like, you had time. You just slept in.
That's so common. That happens. They just don't eat, or they go, I don't like eating before I dance or before I perform. That's also a problem. You see that way too much, especially with teenagers.
My favorite is, I had a granola bar.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like
80 calories.
So it's almost like educating them. Start educating, not only having options available in the studio, but also taking the time to, just like we're teaching ballet and jazz and tap and all the things, we're also educating them about nutrition and what they should be fueling their bodies with, and mindset skills and all the other things that make us whole, healthy, happy, well-rounded athletes.
Yes, if I owned, I think if I owned a dance studio, part of my curriculum absolutely would be, there would be like a mid-semester, the beginning, mid-semester, and at the end. But I would absolutely bring in, whether it's a nutritionist or a health coach or someone that was a dancer that loves healthy lifestyle, and to encourage the students. But I would start my year with that. I'd bring in someone that's going to pump up the kids, make sure the parents are there, because at the end of the day, they go home, right? So to encourage the parents to be a part, on this journey. And then mid-semester, same thing. Hey, here's our reminder. But it needs to be a part of the curriculum. We do too much damage to our body, and no one's talking about the protection aspect of it, because it's detrimental. It can do some really, really negative things to the body. And then you're seeing dancers at 25 and they're like, oh, I'm done. My body's beat. My feet hurt. Everything hurts. I'm exhausted. I'm like, well,
Yeah, we talk a lot on the show about all the different things that we wish the dance industry would change. And the reality of it is, it really, like Caroline said, it starts with our studio culture. It also starts with the leaders and the organizations that kind of hold these events. However, just like all the other things that need to be changed in this industry, like sex abuse and prevention and sex abuse accusations that we're seeing so often, the mentality around injury prevention and making better choices on that. There's so many things where we are rooted in tradition as an industry that unless we can't wait for these leaders to step up and change the way that they've always done it. It's really going to be up to us to make those decisions for ourselves and make sure we're acting responsibly. And so what that means is, if you're going to event, the convention or the competition or whatever isn't going to negotiate with the hotel to have healthier food options. That's just not going to happen. In some cases it can't happen. So it all goes back to a bottom line thing about money, but you can know better and you can make the choice to prepare and pack ahead of time, and you can speak in that way for yourself and advocate for yourself in that way.
And then when you do that, dancers, I promise you, you're just going to inspire your buddies to do the same thing. Be the leader in your community and in your tribe of dancers to do it. And I bet you money there's a buddy that will do it with you. Yep. And then you can start, again, it's like you start small and it builds this amazing tree of hope and of change. But it does. I agree with that. It does start with you. And I always say this, but like my favorite saying is, you can sink or you can swim. So I always say swim hard.
Like all the other, the other topics that we talk about on the show, it's nobody's job to come and hand you the education on a silver platter. You have to, it's there. Caroline's going to give a billion free resources at the end of this that you can join today and learn today. Some stuff that I listen to and read every day. Do I follow it every day? No, but do I absolutely pull things that I apply to my life every day? 100%. Right. And it's there for the taking if you seek it out, but nobody's going to wrap it up in a bow and hand it to you. You have to go look for it.
Yeah. And also make sure that that you don't have to do all these crazy changes at once. Just start small and find those small things. And then that's what I did. And I think now, honestly, the way I live our life, it's like brushing my teeth. Like, hopefully you brush your teeth morning and at night. And, it's the same thing. It's just, I've developed these habits and this lifestyle, and I just automatically do it. So I know that if you're wanting to do this, you can absolutely do it as well. Just know that, be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, and take time to do it.
That is one of the biggest, best things I've ever learned from you, because I used to look at you and go, God, she is so awesome. And I just can't do all that. And I'm not even going to try. It just used to be like, I would go in like 2 weeks and I would be really good. And then I would just totally fall, not even fall, but like drop to my death from the wagon. And I would just suicide fall off the wagon and never get back on it. And so, but the last time, I think that the last time it stuck, because I remember you actually said to me on the phone, you don't stop trying to do all of this. Like, it's not going to work that way. Like, you can start small. Like, you almost gave me permission to start small, and it's okay that you don't have it all figured out, but make small changes. And I still don't have it all figured out, but I've made those. I continue to try to make those small changes, and I feel it in my body.
Yay.
So so thank you for that, because it really did stick this last time.
Yay, that's awesome. I love what you said. Just give yourself permission. And you know what, y'all? Like, I'm still like discovering things about myself, and even foods that serve me. Like, I noticed that there's some plant-based foods that serve me more than others, So it's like, you find the things, but you just have to like make note of it, make mental note of it, and start to pay attention what feels good when it goes in. Right. If it doesn't feel good going in and going out, then it's not the right answer.
And you have to give stuff a chance. Like, you have to be able to try. And the other thing I want to say, we're going to move on to homework pretty soon, but I did want to say, when we're talking about advocating for yourself and bringing your snacks and, taking care of it yourself, being educated, we also, as teachers, have to make the space in our studio for our students to be able to do that. So back to back classes, all day long for 8 hours with no lunch break, with no snack break, with no, we can't really say you need to do better and not make the space to have students do better. So we have
really
to
quick.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, Melissa, we have a quick question from Victoria Loktev. She said, should dancers get any food supplements to reduce damage and improve performance like Boswellia or protein broths?
I'm not necessarily, there's actually not any clinical research that I have ever found on bone broth. As some of my functional medicine, friends that I work with absolutely swear by it. But in terms of like actual clinical research, I've never found, in my mentor, Tony, who's an exercise physiologist, I've never found any. Now I do make a veggie broth that's fantastic, that I do feel very comforted by. And I absolutely feel like if I feel like I'm getting sick, that I will make, and I sip on it throughout the day. The first thing you mentioned, I'm not quite sure what that is, honestly. The only supplement that I take Juice Plus, which is not a supplement. So I eat Juice Plus every single day. I've done that for 16 years. I eat the way that I do. And then I do take a B12 complex because I am plant-based, and also because I have a gene mutation called MTHFR. So it's just kind of essential. But other than that, I do believe in supplementation. I think that we definitely over supplement because we don't eat real food. But I do think that in some cases, yes, it is a necessary thing. Not all supplements are made the same. Obviously, there's some really great brands out there that I trust and that are food-based versus synthetic. So just, be wary of that. But if you drink bone broth and it makes you feel good, great. I'm just, I don't consume animal products. So that's just for me, not for me.
So we love to give homework here, Caroline.
Thank you.
And we want to know, what is one action that you want our listeners to take between now and next week, so just 7 days, to make progress in this area?
Okay. I'd love for you to focus on just color in general. I think color is what everyone misses. We know that the more diversity of plants and color we have in our diet, the stronger our microbiome is. And our microbiome is our gut health. So really focusing on, like, if you're, I don't know, let's say you're going out to eat and the options are a beautiful, like, quinoa, like you go to Zoe's Mediterranean Greek Room, which is a great little place. Do you get like a Caesar salad with not much on it? Or do you get the quinoa salad with all the different colors? Sorry, my husband keeps calling. There we go. With, beans on top. So look for the salad that has the most color. And if not, add it to it, or you can go to and make your own salad bar. So definitely want you to do that. I want you to think about, like we were talking about earlier, the whole water situation. I think that's really important, especially because it is so hot out right now. And you're going to be training for these long hours. I'm sure most of you are going to intensives or nationals and going to be performing a lot. So I'd encourage you, on Amazon, the jug that Bree's talking about is really fantastic. It's really, really large. And that would be a great thing to purchase before you go. I think that'd be great. Or get yourself some, you can even get these in plastic if you want. I just like water that's in glass. So the color, definitely the water. And then what I say, I'm going to really encourage you to, if you have any downtime at all, just really have your downtime. And this is something I still struggle with, because a lot of times I do like my health coaching, a lot of times at night, people message me and that's when I respond. But it's a bad habit I have, but really attempt to ditch your phones as late as you can at night, and go to bed. If you know that you have to get up at 6 a.m. the next day, don't go to bed at 12, especially if you're done at 9 p.m. Literally shower, get in bed, do some deep breathing and rest. Because when you sleep, that's when your body heals. And that's when you're going to perform at your best the next day. Right. And it gives your body time to be like, okay, it's recovery time. Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline. Those are great steps, ones that I struggle with, and I'm going to try. I'm going to make the effort, and I'm going to encourage my students to make the effort as well.
Can I say one more?
Yeah.
I wrote this down. Sorry. We already said this, but just pay attention to the way the food is making you feel. Just start to really pay attention to it. Maybe even just have like a journal, or maybe even just in your phone, have a note section. And like, if you're trying to figure out what foods really fuel you the best, like make notes and be like, okay, that definitely messed up my bowels. Then write that down. And then if you eat it again and it messes up your bowels again, that would be something that I, maybe wouldn't, would stay away from. Like most people, dairy messes up their bowels. So,
Yeah. Have to pay attention. Pay
Yeah.
attention to your body. It's going to tell you what's good and what's not. So that's also another good one. As we're moving through Caroline's homework, we also have another or a number of different steps. Caroline's provided us with a few too that we can also take. Taking the STEPS module, STEPS 2020 initiative. It is a course, a full, chocked full of knowledge course that's offered totally free by Apollo Performance. Bree has put the link there in Facebook Live for you. You can take it. It has just a number of different things that you can learn about nutrition, racism and equity, sex abuse and prevention, dance science and medicine, like unbelievable amounts of knowledge. So please take that. It's totally free. YPAS certification, they have a number of different courses in all areas that you can take. We're giving you a 25% off code Apollo25. Repop that in Facebook as well. Check those courses out and get a little bit of discount as you do it in your downtime in the summer months. You'll have time to do that. And some of the resources that Caroline's given us, free cooking classes.
Yeah.
I have to do, you said Sundays 3 to 4?
It's every Sunday from 3 to 4. Bree is going to put the PDF in there. Mm-hmm. There's a couple in the summer just because of holidays that we're not having them. But yeah, every Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's on Zoom. You get the whole ingredient list before. So you get your ingredients and then you cook with us. It's fantastic. We've done it since the beginning of January. And it was only supposed to be the month of January, but then we extended it because it was so... the families really loved it.
Yes, I see. We just dropped that. Make sure you take advantage of that. Unbound Summer Intensive and the Unbound Performance. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I created Unbound in 2008 with my co-director and one of my best friends, Susan Dabney Hancock. She was a professional ballerina, and we literally have not done a show since 2010, just babies and life and all that stuff. And I was traveling tons, but we decided to do a show after 11 years. And we're doing that at the end of August, which we're super pumped about. My great friend, Ricky Milan, is coming down to host it. The Hands Down Tap Project, my great friend, Nick Nicolangelo, his tap company is coming to perform. It's just, my great friend, Terrence, is going to be singing, dance. The show is called One. And about unity, togetherness, community. And then the intensive is just a 1-day intensive, and all of our proceeds are going to help fund the show. But all of our dancers are teaching. Everyone gets, I think, 6 or 7 classes. It's $100 for the day, and they're getting every single genre of dance, except for ballroom. Yeah, except for ballroom. But yeah, we're really pumped about it. It'll be here in Columbia, South Carolina. So if you want to drive down for the day, we'd love to have you. And it's anywhere from a 6-year-old to a 25-year-old to a 25-year-old. Yeah. So we have 3 different levels that we're having.
I also want to encourage everybody to join. Caroline, if you could quickly tell us about how they join Health Made Simple for Dancers, because I think it's such a great resource.
Yeah, there's actually 2. So, well, actually, I'm going to give you 3 if it's okay. So there's Health Made Simple for Dancers. That is one Facebook page. The second one is called Powered by Plants, the Health Made Simple community. And then the third one is my group, where a bunch of like moms and dancers get on and just post tons of recipes and ideas. And it's called Just More Plants January Initiative.
Yeah.
I know it's a mouthful. Just More Plants January Initiative. I did this just in January when we started the cooking classes, but it like grew so fast and they were like, don't stop it. So we didn't stop it.
They're such fantastic. They have recipes and tips and tricks to travel and keep things really simple and quick and easy for your life, because so many of us are looking for that. So they're fantastic just to keep up with. And again, you pull from what you can apply to your life and what works for you. I know we have to go, Caroline, so I don't want to rush off, but thank you for being here. Please, everybody watching, take a look at the resources we put in the chat thread below. The recording of this episode and all of our episodes will be available on Facebook at Apollo Performance, as well as Turning Point Dance Creations at _TPDC_on_IG. And if you register to join us on Zoom, you will get a recording of each and every episode. We ask that you please share, so we can get the word and the education out there. Thank you once again to Caroline Lewis Jones for joining us today, for your passion and dedication to educating athletes on the importance of health, mind, body, and soul. You are doing amazing, amazing work. Caroline is also one of the new leaders of the Bridge Dance Project, the North Carolina chapter. So if you're in the North Carolina area, is it surrounding
South Carolina? South Carolina.
South Carolina
You're good.
area. If you're in South Carolina, look up the Bridge Dance Project to become part of that chapter and join in the work that they're doing. It's fantastic. Next week, we're going to be back Friday, June 24th. We're celebrating the last week of Pride Month with a very important conversation. How can we best support our transgendered students in and outside of the classroom? We hope you'll join us. Until then, we hope you continue your journey beyond the steps, and everybody have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Caroline. Love you.
Yay. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Great
thank you.
weekend.